On the afternoon of October 6, 2018, a stretch limousine carrying 17 friends to a 30th birthday celebration at a brewery in Cooperstown, New York, hurtled down a steep hill, blew through a stop sign at over 100 miles per hour, and slammed into an unoccupied SUV in the parking lot of the Apple Barrel Country Store in the small town of Schoharie. The devastating crash killed all 18 people in the limo, including the driver, and 2 pedestrians in the parking lot, making it the deadliest transportation accident in the United States since a 2009 plane crash near Buffalo, New York. The 2001 Ford Excursion limousine involved in the tragedy had been modified to seat up to 18 passengers and was owned by Prestige Limousine, a company run by Nauman Hussain and his father, Shahed Hussain. Investigations would soon reveal a disturbing pattern of negligence, failed inspections, and blatant disregard for passenger safety that led to the catastrophic brake failure responsible for the crash. In March 2018, the limousine had been inspected by the New York State Department of Transportation and cited for numerous safety violations, including defective brakes. Despite being ordered off the road, Prestige Limousine continued to operate the vehicle. A second inspection in early September, just a month before the crash, again found the limo to be unfit for service due to safety issues. Nauman Hussain, however, had the vehicle illegally inspected at a Mavis discount tire shop, which issued a passing inspection sticker without addressing the underlying problems. On the day of the accident, the group of friends from Amsterdam, New York, had originally booked a party bus to take them to Brewery Ommegang in Cooperstown for Amy Steenberg's 30th birthday celebration. When the bus broke down, Axel Steenberg, Amy's husband, called Prestige Limousine to arrange for a replacement vehicle. The doomed excursion, driven by 53-year-old Scott Lisanikia, arrived to pick up the group at the Steenberg residence. As the limousine made its way towards Cooperstown, passengers began to notice troubling signs. Aaron McGowan, 34, texted a friend, stating, "The limo sounds like it's going to explode." Another passenger, 26-year-old Amanda Halse, complained to her sister that the vehicle was a junker. Unbeknownst to the passengers, Lisanikia, who had been cited in August for operating the same limo without a proper license, was battling a vehicle with severely compromised brakes. Witnesses reported seeing the limousine traveling erratically and hearing the sounds of screeching and burning as it descended the steep grade on Route 30 towards the intersection with Route 30A. Matthew Heller, a driver who had been following the limo, testified that he smelled burning metal every time the brakes were applied. As the limousine approached the intersection, Jacqueline Schnurr, a professor at Wells College, was waiting in the parking lot of the Apple Barrel Country Store with her husband, Brian Ho, her father, James Schnurr, and other family members. They had stopped to pick up food on their way to Schnurr's cousin's wedding. Suddenly, Schnurr heard a deafening noise getting louder and louder. She turned to see a white blur speeding towards her family's parked SUV. The Excursion, its brakes having failed completely, slammed into the SUV at over 100 miles per hour. The impact sent the SUV flying, and the limousine careened into a ravine. In an instant, 20 lives were lost. Jacqueline Schnurr, knocked to the ground by the force of the collision, found her father's lifeless body in the bushes. Her husband Brian and 18 others in and around the limo, including Lisanikia, perished in the crash. As news of the tragedy spread, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, and the New York State Police, NYSP, began piecing together the events that led to the horrific accident. They quickly uncovered a litany of failures on the part of Prestige Limousine and its operator, Nauman Hussain. The Excursion had failed multiple DOT inspections in the months leading up to the crash, with inspectors citing issues such as defective brakes, a malfunctioning emergency exit, and improper registration. Hussain had repeatedly ignored orders to take the vehicle out of service, and instead sought to circumvent safety regulations by having the limo inspected at Mavis Discount Tire, which was not authorized to inspect vehicles of that size and weight. Investigations also revealed that Shahed Hussain, Nauman's father and the owner of Prestige Limousine, had a checkered past. He had served as an FBI informant in terrorism cases and had been involved in various questionable business ventures. At the time of the crash, Shahed Hussain was in his native Pakistan, leaving his son to manage the limousine company. As the families of the victims grappled with their devastating losses, public outrage grew over the apparent lack of oversight and accountability in the limousine industry. The NTSB's final report, released in September 2020, cited Prestige Limousine's egregious disregard for safety as the probable cause of the crash, and criticized the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, and DOT for their inadequate enforcement of safety regulations. The report also highlighted the need for improved safety standards in the limousine industry, particularly for stretch limousines that are modified after leaving the factory. In the wake of the tragedy, New York State lawmakers passed a series of bills aimed at strengthening limousine safety regulations. The new laws required stretch limousines to undergo semi-annual safety inspections, mandated the use of seatbelts in all passenger vehicles, and increased penalties for companies that violate safety rules. Nauman Hussain, who had been charged with 20 counts of second-degree manslaughter and 20 counts of criminally negligent homicide shortly after the crash, initially reached a plea deal in September 2021 that would have spared him prison time. The agreement, which called for 5 years of probation and 1,000 hours of community service, was met with fierce criticism from the victims' families, who felt it was too lenient. In a stunning turn of events, Judge Peter Lynch, who had taken over the case after the retirement of the previous judge, rejected the plea deal in August 2022. Lynch insisted that Hussain serve time behind bars for his role in the tragedy. Faced with the prospect of a lengthy prison sentence, Hussain withdrew his guilty plea and chose to go to trial. The trial, which began in May 2023, saw prosecutors presenting compelling evidence of Hussain's culpability in the crash. Witnesses testified about the limousine's long history of mechanical problems and failed inspections, and the steps Hussain had taken to keep the vehicle on the road despite its dangerous condition. Virgil Park, the former manager of the Mavis Discount Tire Shop, where the Excursion had received its fraudulent inspection, admitted under questioning that he had told Hussain the limousine's brakes were so problematic that he should burn it. Nevertheless, Park's shop had issued a passing inspection sticker and billed Hussain for brake work that was never actually performed. After nearly 3 weeks of emotional testimony from witnesses, victims' family members, and experts, the jury found Nauman Hussain guilty on all 20 counts of second-degree manslaughter. On May 31, 2023, Judge Lynch sentenced Hussain to the maximum penalty of 5 to 15 years in state prison. The conviction and sentencing of Nauman Hussain brought a measure of closure to the families of the Schoharie limousine crash victims, but their grief and the impact of the tragedy continue to resonate. Many have become advocates for stronger safety regulations and increased oversight in the limousine industry, hoping to prevent similar accidents from occurring in the future. The legacy of the Schoharie crash can be seen in the ongoing efforts to improve limousine safety at both the state and federal levels. In 2021, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, included provisions to close loopholes that had allowed stretch limousines to operate without adequate safety standards for decades. The families have also filed civil lawsuits against Prestige Limousine, Mavis Discount Tire, and other parties they believe bear responsibility for the crash. In the spring of 2023, Mavis reached settlements with several of the victims' families, though the terms of these agreements have not been disclosed. As the 5th anniversary of the Schoharie limousine crash approaches, the pain and loss suffered by the families and communities affected by the tragedy remain a poignant reminder of the importance of safety, accountability, and vigilance. The 20 lives lost on that fateful October afternoon in 2018 have become the driving force behind a movement to ensure that no other families have to endure such a devastating and preventable loss. The story of the Schoharie limousine crash is one of unimaginable grief, systemic failures, and the pursuit of justice. It is a tale that underscores the need for rigorous oversight, strict adherence to safety regulations, and a commitment to holding those who prioritize profit over human life accountable for their actions. As the families continue to heal and the fight for safer roads persists, the memory of the 20 souls lost in Schoharie will forever serve as a powerful testament to the importance of learning from past tragedies to build a safer future for all. Thank you for watching this documentary. Your support is crucial in helping us continue to create impactful documentaries like this one. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more stories like this one.